Hello and welcome to the Stronghold Digital Mining Daily Update. Today's Monday, February 12th, 2024. I'm taking a look at the Zyner.com Stronghold Digital Mining shareholder dashboard, right? This is a very homemade, very unofficial sort of thing. But I see that the price of Bitcoin is currently at above $50,000 a coin. I see hash prices over 7 cents. Both those things look great. I see shares of Stronghold Digital Mining. They were up, I think, over $6 a share today, closed down a little bit right towards the end of the day. But nevertheless, we're seeing our stock price begin to start moving in the right direction again. Listen, on Friday, I acknowledged that that broadcast could have seemed a bit subdued, right? It could have come across like, hey man, Steven seems to be like pessimistic about the future, right? That, like that vibe probably existed. Thing is, right, like this is a great book. It's called The Hard Thing About Hard Things, and it's by Ben Horowitz, a phenomenal entrepreneur, great individual, really. And, he makes this comment in this book, right, that a lot of times people that are in leadership roles within a company, which, by the way, I am not in any sort of leadership role within Stronghold Digital Mining, but nevertheless, as a result of these broadcasts, I do recognize, and I'm deeply sensitive to the fact that a lot of people watch these broadcasts. And so getting back to what Ben mentions in the book, he says, a lot of people in leadership, they find themselves falling into this pattern of like relentless optimism, relentless positivity, right? And, I've myself, okay, I'm going to explain why I think that's important and also explain why it can sometimes ring a bit hollow. And we're going to kind of put this all together. But there have been times, right, when Greg, our chief executive officer, has been interviewed on podcasts, right, or on, different mediums. And it's funny, like if I detect that Greg sounds weary or tired or, like that the process has become a bit daunting, you sort of like notice that. And like subconsciously, you start to maybe feel a little bit uncertain then about, right, the future of the business. Bearing in mind, right, that look at in business, anything is possible. There are no guarantees. But that being said, right, it's always kind of reassuring when you see company leadership, or at least when I hear and see company leadership, expressing things in a very positive, constructive manner, which is very much the way our leadership has a tendency to express things. Now, my situation is such that this is true. I was unanimously voted most optimistic by my high school classmates. So I am genuinely very, very, very optimistic. The thing is, right, I interact with you. Hey, there's a lot of comments sometimes, right, that express frustration with, Stronghold Digital Mining stock price performance, frustration with a variety of things having to do with Bitcoin, right, or the entire Bitcoin mining ecosystem. So from time to time, I really do want to tap into that and really acknowledge that, I get it. I get the frustration. I get that sometimes it can feel as if though we're in the middle of this ocean, right? This vast ocean being tossed around by these massive waves with what can sometimes feel like no land in sight, And so that's why I think Friday's broadcast kind of tapped into that tonality, right? That sense of things have been challenging, because otherwise, I think if these broadcasts were to, some people think that I'm shilling for the company and that I must be getting paid very well to shill for Stronghold Digital Mining, which of course couldn't be further from the truth. What is true though, is that I genuinely believe in the mission and purpose of the business. And I truly believe in the mission and purpose of the company and their ability to execute on the plans that have been put forth and to be successful. Does it mean, hey, this is a guarantee the company's going to be successful? Of course not. I mean, what guarantees are there in life, right? But that being said, I do think it's important that from time to time, I kind of not just seem like somebody who could get on here and just be nonstop positive and, optimistic 100% of the time, to the point where it can truly seem as if though these broadcasts are just disconnected from reality. And they're not disconnected from reality. I interact very much so, right, with you on social media. And so, look, I see the frustration that's out there sometimes. In fact, the main reason why I started creating these broadcasts in the first place was because of the hopelessness, the true hopelessness that existed, at the time that I started looking at the company back in the summer of 2022. Like you'd had this incredible IPO in October of 2021. You saw the stock price shoot up, and then crypto winter slowly but surely started to kind of come into the picture. The company had its, some challenges unique to the company. The stock price started to slide. And yeah, like it was a pretty kind of like not so pleasant environment. So my goal was, hey, like I just want to get involved. Hey, I became a co-owner of the business, a shareholder of this business. I believe in participatory economics, I guess, if that's the right way to say it, right? Hey, look, if I own shares of the company, why wouldn't I want to get involved to try to help make the company a success, right? And to share my perspectives and views on why I do think, not just based on pure, fantasy, right, or wishful thinking, but just based on reality, based on the math, why I think a very high likelihood exists for Stronghold Digital Mining to do well in the marketplace. So anyway, with all of that said, yes, I acknowledge Friday could have seemed a bit dark or a bit down. I don't know, like to me, it wasn't that dramatically down. It's right. It's not like we had somber music playing and, right, we were having some sort of like quasi funeral for the company. But I understand that in this environment that we're operating in, even the slightest bit of lack of sort of like enthusiasm or of, positivity, it sort of has that impact of then suggesting, well, gosh, like Steven, who's like this uber like optimistic person about the company, man, if he's starting to like waver and express doubt or reservations, gosh, things must really be bad, because we know that this guy's like really, really like on top of things and constantly follows what's going on with the company. So I get that, and I respect that, and I appreciate that. But I hope you understand and appreciate that I don't want to ring hollow either, right? I want to make sure that from time to time, I'm sort of acknowledging the sentiment that can exist amongst the shareholder base, right? I mean, it's been a very challenging journey, to say the least. Okay, with all of that said, there is some snow that's in the forecast for Pennsylvania tomorrow. I do see grid prices are, very anemic at the moment. I don't know to what extent we may potentially see a spike in grid prices. It's something I'm certainly going to be, watching for. I'm looking at natural gas prices. They seem to be at about $1.40, which is quite low. So again, in that type of environment, I'm not necessarily expecting grid prices to be particularly helpful, absent there being some weather-specific event or situation that takes place, which might cause problems for the grid, whereby in turn, we may see grid prices start to go up. But as I've said before, hey, look, we don't control the weather. I'm not wishing for bad weather, but to the extent bad weather arrives and it's, hey, Stronghold Digital Mining can play a small but constructive role in helping to support the grid, then that's awesome. Okay, my friend, I like what I'm seeing with regard to the price of Bitcoin. $50,000 a coin is good. $100,000 a coin is even better. I know there are a lot of you out there that are like, look, we got to take out the previous high. I agree. One step at a time. Let's see if we could get to the $70,000 range. Not sure how long or not that'll take, right? Nobody has a crystal ball, but I'll tell you, I like what I'm seeing as the halving approaches. This is looking pretty good. Okay, my friend, let's stay positive. Let's be great, and we'll see each other again tomorrow.